Nope. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I don't know. I mean, I know that there's no one here, but I am making a little tree and I'm using my actual computer webcam to do this. So it looks a little bit deep fried, but I kind of just wanted to hang out and chill and do this for like the morning because there are a lot of things on my mind. There are a lot of things I know I should be doing, but it feels like too much right now. It feels really overwhelming. And it's also hard with well, all of the strangeness surrounding the pandemic. Everything feels sort of distant, and people feel distant. So I'm trying to just ground myself and do what I know I enjoy as a way of coping, because I need healthier ways of coping. This is something I'm learning to practice, is just to choose the things that are good for me over the things that are bad for me. And it's amazing. It seems like such a simple idea, but it's so hard to implement. It's so hard to actually follow through with that. So we put a lot of unnecessary emphasis on other things which aren't as important, like productivity, you know? The need to always be doing something of value, which, I think that this has value, but that value comes from what it is and the process of making it. I don't know where I'm going with this. I mean, it is still a stream of one. I should probably share this with some of my friends. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see if some people are up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Life is complicated. Life is complicated, but I do have the YouTube app on my phone, and so what I can do is I go to my own live stream and I can share it by copying the link. I'm so smart. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna copy the link and I'm gonna send it to the group chat. You're legally obligated to do this. I did do those colors. They're saying I should do cobalt blue and cobalt pink. They're so good, but they faded out. And now I'm going to send this to one other person. Do 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 do. There we go. Okay. Okay. Oh wow. Hey, there are people watching. That's amazing. Welcome. I'm just making a tree. It's been a long time since I've made a tree that I'm really happy with a canopy that I really like. So it's really nice to experiment a little bit. I don't know if this is actually going to become like a full piece at some point. I don't know what this is going to be. Um, but yeah, I really like the colors and I like this color gradient I've got set up. Oh, I think there is. Yeah, I think there is a live chat. So yeah, I don't know. If you just want to watch, that's good. If you want to interact, feel free. I really like these colors, and so I'm planning on I'm planning on taking this color scheme, like this sort of brown color that I'm using for the tree, and then this color gradient, and making some architecture. I'm imagining something with a tower and a little moat and a bridge going over the moat. And I'm gonna make this glue here is mixed with some fluorescent powdered pigment. So under a black light, it glows this like nice pink color. It's really hard to see with this deep fried webcam, but yeah, I'm getting a new camera soon, so there's going to be a good increase in the quality of the videos I'm taking. Of course, usually they're not this deep fried. This is just because I'm using a webcam. It's a very low effort stream, but it's kind of nice to be able to just narrate what I'm doing. I feel like I could be walking in the footsteps of Bob Ross here a little bit, you know, making these happy trees. I love Bob Ross. He's got such good energy. Like I haven't even like watched his show. I just seeing like gifs and things of him online and just like how he talked and how he approached life was really special. Is he still alive? Wait, I need to find out. Wait, is Bob Ross still alive? Serin's hair is really good. I don't know who's watching, but that's really good hair. Like this is the hand sign I'm making. Um, I was gonna look up Bob Ross. Is he alive? Bob Ross alive? Question mark. Bob Ross is an American paper. Date of death. He died in 1995. Okay, so I, yeah, I guess you could say he was before my time. I don't know. Maybe I got reincarnated. Maybe I was Bob Ross. Maybe I should get that hair. Just having watched anime, I feel like most of Bob Ross's power was actually held in his hair. He had some kind of like superpower on it. It would be really cool to play music for one of these streams. Um, I don't know if I can get away with playing like lo-fi or something from YouTube alongside my video. But if you're watching, I would recommend lo-fi for ghosts only to go along with this. That's what I was listening to earlier. Yeah. So I'm just gonna enjoy this space. Enjoy making this. There's a logic to these. Like each of these flowers has a similarity, but they're not meant to be identical or even close to identical. Each one is its own thing, you know? If I wanted to make the same thing exactly thousands and thousands of times over, I'd make earrings. But I do make earrings sometimes. I just make them for fun though. I don't like I don't have a storefront for them. I do sell sculptures though. That's my plug. If you see something you like on my Instagram, just message me about it, and I'll see if I still have it and how to get it to you. But yeah, there's so much to learn. Like I think we forget that a lot. Just how much we still don't know. How like basically we're all still like 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 kids trying to figure out the world, and we never do. Never really we never really reach that point. But if we remember to drink water, and we keep moving forward every day, making things a little bit better, and slowly things start to improve. It sounds corny, but it's all about the journey. It's got to be the truest thing that I've ever heard. Research has been interesting. That's something that like I got into this year, or back into, I guess I should say, because I finished a 2-year diploma in biotechnology at BCIT, in the Lower Mainland, and that was like a really arduous program. And so I dropped out and I left to go to Berlin. And if you are someone who's been watching the channel for a while, which most likely you are, I would assume you are. Um, but yeah, I'm really okay. Where was I? I was going to Berlin for a year just to do something other than research. Yeah. Then I realized I still needed that. Like I spent a lot of time in Berlin working at a call center, and so while I was at the call center, um, I worked part time. So I worked 4 hours a day, and then I would come back and spend the other 4 hours of my workday sculpting and making videos, and like that was really cool and really rewarding. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity and the privilege and the support from my partner at the time to be able to experiment with that. But I mean, at the same time that I was doing that, I realized like sculpting on its own wasn't going to be fulfilling, I guess. Like yeah, I have like futuristic dreams and and visions of glowing plant cities. And I'm still after that. And I don't think that like yeah. I think I need a way to sort of paddle towards it. If even if a paddle is all I have, I'm gonna cross this ocean. So whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you are enjoying paddling alongside. Aw. Wait, Serin, you have a YouTube channel? Okay, I am absolutely subscribing to you. I don't know if you post any videos. This is actually the first live stream I've done. I don't really know what the format of these is yet. Yeah, I don't have a template, so I'm just kind of talking. But usually with my sculpting videos, I record all of what I'm doing, and then I just show the parts that look really interesting and fun. And so it all comes together in like 10, 15 minutes. But really the process of like sculpting takes like of sculpting one of my pieces takes like tens of hours. And then it's all condensed to like 2 minutes. Oh hey, we've got a new viewer. Welcome. good to have you here. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. But the process of sculpting and making one of these pieces is like 12 hours, 10 hours, dozens of hours. And then at the end, you come out of it with this little like crystallized piece of of the process of like of making this. It's like while you're making it, it comes to life. And then on life, it leaves behind a skeleton. It's like a coral reef or or a fossil, something like that. Like being able to create things is incredible. You get to crystallize something in your mind into something in the world. Oh, I said, Serin, I said you have a YouTube channel. And I subscribe to you, but you probably saw that. Do you post anything? Well, let me know if you heard me or didn't hear me again. I also don't have a microphone right now, but I'm getting a microphone. Yeah, the problem has basically just been trying to trying to find a stable place. I've had to move a couple times for different reasons, but yeah, yeah, it's been a challenging year. Like, and not just because of COVID, although COVID isn't like just because it's yeah, it's been a rocky road. I think we're coming out of it though. I think so. Fingers crossed, right? That's how you cross fingers. Something like that. I might have to watch that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was on YouTube, like I had an account just to watch stuff on YouTube for like 8 years before I started posting. It was only in the past like one yeah, I think my first like real sculpting video was posted like halfway through 2020, like sometime in July almost. But I'd recorded it in January of that year, or no, in November of 2019. So I'd had the footage. I just had no idea how to do it. Um, yeah, and it took me a really long time to actually get started on it. But then once I did it, it was like it was such a rush. Being like I went from all this raw, awkward video of me fumbling with clay, and I turned it into something like really fun to watch. That was so the piece I'm talking about is the one I think it's called it's called Futury, like future tree. Oh my goodness. It's yeah, it's just it's a dad joke. Wait, oh Sasha's here. Thank you, Sasha. It's good to see you. Or or to be seen. I'm really glad you like the short stories. That means a lot to me. Like yeah, I really wanted to do something that was unique. Like because I found like music works really well over this type of video. Um, but it like I was looking at music libraries and I was like, this is someone else's thing. You know, I wanted to have something that I could really express with. And there's a lot of like there are a lot of stories I want to tell. I really like I love storytelling. Um, it's such a rare art. People don't really engage in it. Well, I haven't encountered a lot of people like engaging in it in like friend groups. I guess D&D is an example. But yeah, not a lot of people even play D&D. It's yeah, it's a pretty rare thing. I think we're afraid to like how do I say this? I think that people want to make something absolutely brilliant. If they're going to tell a story, they don't want to waste everyone's time because there's a whole bunch of media that we have access to, and there's like really really great art that's been made already, and it's like how do you compete with that, right? How do you compete with, I don't know, Rick and Morty, the greatest TV show of all time? How do you even compete with that? But I think it's such a human thing to be able to gather around and tell stories. Yeah. That's why I really like creepypasta. Like, I mean, it can be very cringy, and there's definitely like a problematic community around it. Like, there's a portion of the creepypasta community that's like really fucked, but um, there's another part of it that's just like really creative and yeah, just sparks a lot of emotion and brings to mind that feeling of like someone telling campfire stories when you're at camp, and you still don't know what trees are. You're afraid of the forest. And then anything could be in that darkness. Yeah. Yeah, I'm absolutely fascinated by monster stories. Actually, there's a there's a story that was recommended to me by one of the creepypasta authors that I listen to a lot, Dr. Creepin. I'll post the name in the chat. Um, he's got some good stuff. He's got good stuff and bad stuff. I won't like say that it's all great, but yeah, I might put up like a playlist of pieces of his that I really enjoy. Um, but he suggested John Carpenter's The Fog as a good horror movie to watch because it has an opening scene with someone telling a campfire story, and that was his inspiration to start doing creepypasta stuff. Um, yeah, so I'm planning on watching that soon. It would be really cool to set up some kind of watch party for that. Ooh. Oh, oh no. Okay. Well, there's such a process to this. You have to figure out exactly how you want to do it, and it keeps like changing on you, and so you have to find new bases and new. What even are trees? I don't know. Trees are aliens. Trees are absolutely aliens. Like, they seem stationary, but they're just moving really slowly. And I had this idea of a short story that would be like all the trees have been replaced with alien trees that are trying to just pretend to be trees, but they're actually like aliens, and we just don't notice. And the whole story is about like them spying on us, but we never get it. We never figure it out. And then they go back to their home planet, and we're like, where did all the trees go? Yep. I've been trying to shape. I've been trying to shape trees with magnets, or not trees, but little Arabidopsis seedlings. They're about the size of the like little things that I'm making right now, the little flower buds. Yeah. Um, it hasn't been working out so well. I think it's because the range at which the effect works is like really, really short. It's like a tenth of a millimeter. And I've been working at a scale of more like closer to 1 millimeter. But I was really excited. I got some plates and I put a single seed on them. And I put a set of neodymium magnets on either side of the plate, and the seedling went straight through. And it was nice. And I for a while I couldn't figure out why I was so happy to see that. But I think I realized it's like negative results are really useful. Like they tell you when things aren't working. And before I was trying like a bunch of plates with multiple seeds. Um, so they were lined up in a row along the top. Then you'd have a magnet on either side. And I was hoping that the magnetic field would repel the roots, and so you'd get this kind of bubbling out around where the magnets were placed. And you'd have all of the roots kind of going in unison like this curtain. And then you could kind of measure the change in the effect over that range. Um, but the problem was that they didn't really they didn't really change direction all that much. On one side of the plate, in one of the plates, I saw them kind of curving together around at the bottom, which I thought might be something. But then I noticed that like another plate that hadn't been anywhere near those magnets was doing the same thing. And so it was just this kind of looking and hoping that I was seeing something that I could move ahead with. But having that one seed and seeing it grow directly through the center of the magnet, it just provided like this clarity, like oh, this approach is a dead end. You know, you found a solution to the oxygen issue. You found a solution to the oxygen issue with the magnetic bacteria thing. Um, yeah. So the oxygen issue. I'm not sure which oxygen issue you mean. Are you talking about? Oh, hey, Lily. Tree and blue balls. Must be spring. Um, Sasha, though, if you're talking about the last video, then I'm not I'm not sure which oxygen problem you're referring to. Because I mean, I'd figured out we've got the setup for like bubbling nitrogen through our tubes, so we can grow the magnetic bacteria. So it might. But the only thing that I haven't gotten yet is we haven't gotten the samples to grow. Um, yeah, we haven't gotten the magnetic bacteria samples, so we need to get those, and then we can move ahead with growing them. Yeah, but it's exciting. Like, I mean, it's been a couple of months since I've got like it's been a couple of months since I got to Vancouver. Um, Yeah, and there's been a lot of there have been a lot of challenges trying to get established again. But like through it all, we were able to set up the whole nitrogen stand so we can bubble the media, and push out the oxygen and get the concentration right. Um, and and I've like studied like I've made a lot of different plates with a lot of different arrangements of magnets on the with the Arabidopsis seedlings. They're basically little weeds, but they're a common research subject for plant biology. Yeah, they're really yeah they're really well studied. they're they're not particularly interesting, but they're the kind of shrub that you would see like on the side of the road on a gravel highway. So it's kind of nice that they've gotten this prominent position. What was I saying though? Okay, so we looked at root exposure to magnetic fields, and yeah, and I also wrote that proposal for a fellowship application regarding like how to go about at least starting the genetic engineering step. of like actually getting the genes from the magnetic bacteria into the plant roots, because I think that would make them much more sensitive to the magnetic fields on the plates, and you might even be able to like passively direct the roots. Like if you have, for example, if you have a tree planted in soil and a big, like a lodestone, like a heavy, thick magnet deep underneath the ground that's polarized up and down, kind of creates this bubble of magnetic field with the strongest magnetic field in the middle, and then this gradient around it. So then you would have the tree roots kind of coming down from above and getting deflected around this magnet. And so then, like after the roots have grown around the ball, then you can remove the soil and you have this little hollow structure. And if you continued that idea, you could sort of create like a magnetic scaffold going deep, deep underground and having these roots fill in that structure and then just erode the soil away around it and slowly dig your civilization out of the ground. And that would be compatible with still having everything we have now. This would just be like a forest city coming out under the ground underneath underneath a traditional city. I should paint that. I've been wanting to get a tablet for quite some time now. So yeah, there are a couple of things which I need to order because I'm getting a new camera. I want to get a new microphone, and I want to get this like some kind of pen tablet. But the problem is like everything is everything is outlet based. It's meant to be like plugged into a laptop, and I don't know. I just don't trust the software to work. And so I really want something that's like a screen that I can draw on, that's like a good size, like probably about this size or maybe a little bigger. Yeah, that I can just draw directly on and then plug it into my computer and transfer the files over once I'm done. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's basically an iPad with the Apple Pen, but Apple. Lilly convinced me. You're terrible. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Say hi to your boyfriend, Sasha. That makes me really happy. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I really like want to see where this goes. Yeah, it's definitely an ambitious project. Yeah, but you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think this is going to be something that like if it does happen, it takes like hundreds of years to happen. Just like a very slow recovery. Because it's a lot easier to destroy things than it is to create them, than it is to rebuild. You know, like we yeah. I mean, in about 100 years, we've totally decimated, and we meaning like Western civilization has totally decimated like biodiversity around the world, and those like pools of genetics and different animals that have gone extinct. I don't know how that can recover. I think in a sense we need like a kind of Jurassic Park approach, but instead of resurrecting very long extinct things, we should be resurrecting the very recently extinct things. We should be collecting like pools of genes. I think that kind of research is being done. Like collecting just genetic profiles of huge numbers of wild animals, like especially in contexts where we don't know where all those genes are coming from. Um, yeah, like environmental samples. Yeah. But I've often thought about the idea of like recreating diversity. Like if we can shape the way that life looks with the kind of technology that we have, like we could really start to rebuild rather than trying to preserve. Because I really I think we've passed the point where we could preserve the world as it was in the pre-industrial age. You know, like when people talk about carbon emissions, it's always about like going back to pre-industrial levels. And I don't think I don't think that that's likely. And in any event, like the mass extinction event we've been through is going to take time to recover from, but it's also not going to recover the way that it did. You know, the world changed a lot after that meteor killed the dinosaurs, which I'm sure you've heard of. Um, Boyfriend understands machines and not plants. He said to just feed plants lots of iron. Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. Like, I think that might work, and I want to try it. Actually, one of the approaches that I want to use for studying plant roots' response to magnetic fields is to introduce a bunch of iron nanoparticles into the media so that they can start taking it up, and then the roots would physically just have a lot of iron in them, and it would move them around. Um, the issue with that is that then you're kind of it's the same thing as like pulling on a plant root, like physically you're just moving it around. The idea that I'm pursuing is to take the genes from the magnetic bacteria that give them the ability to form nanomagnets inside their own cell into the amyloplasts of tree roots. So amyloplasts are these cells that contain starch. They're generally heavy. They're not cells though. They're vacuoles. So they're little compartments inside the cell that hold on to starch. And root tips determine which way down is by where those starch grains settle. So if you have a bunch of, if you have a bunch of something heavy in your hand, right, and you shake it, it ends up at the bottom. And so they sense that, and that changes the way that they distribute the hormones in their roots and also the way that they grow. So they can keep going towards down. So my idea is to take those starch grains, those amyloplasts, and basically make them into little magnets. So then if you apply a magnetic field, they just respond like any other nanomagnet would and move somewhere else. And so now the plant thinks that this is where down is and will start going in that direction. And so you could make some kind of like, and so you could make like a magnetic hologram that creates a three-dimensional structure in space, and then the roots follow that on their own. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm still going to try. I'm still going to try just putting nanoparticles in the media and see if that's enough. Yeah, my instinct just says that like that it's basically going to be like fighting the roots. You're going to have to constantly adjust them, and that's something that's also a thing in traditional like tree shaping, because a lot of people have done like there's some really impressive arborists out there um, who have done things. Look up pook tree. It's spelled like this. There we go, pook tree. Yeah, so they do like shaping at the tips of tree branches, and they can do some like incredible like spirals and like very curvy shapes that look very natural. There's also a startup in the UK that's been growing chairs out of trees, and yeah, those chair trees, they look a little rough. They do a lot of trimming and a lot of little fine adjustments to try to get them into the shape that they want. So it's kind of constant maintenance. Yeah. So I feel like their approach looks a little less elegant than the poop tree approach. I want to get that book actually. That's another thing. Yeah. Let me know if you find it. It's really impressive. I need to see if I can find the name of the guy. Okay, yeah, it's the first result that comes up. He's also made chairs, but he's not the guy I was talking about with the startup in the UK. Yeah. So I think we do actually have like the capacity to make these things that I'm talking about, like tree-based architecture. I think that is totally possible. The barrier is time. It takes a long time for trees to grow, and it requires like a certain level of dedication for someone to continue maintaining them. So I imagine like a community of people maintaining something like this. The people who live in the structure are actively like pruning and shaping it and deciding where it should go next and making the new rooms. So yeah, it's a very commie idea. It would be a cool little queer space commune. I've been thinking about a story. There's a story I want to tell. Um, and actually, I just realized um, these audio narrations might be a good way to tell that story, actually, because I wanted to tell a story about creating like a floating dome on Venus where you live in space and you're growing algae and fermenters and you're using that to like brew your alcohol and grow your weed. I think a lot of the story was focused on how they make drugs. Um, yeah, I don't know if that follows YouTube policy. They might take this down. I don't know if you can mention mushrooms. Portobellos. It's portobellos. Yeah, not drugs. Definitely not drugs. Yeah, and there were plant people. There were plant people on the dome, on this floating dome on Venus, and basically the sunset takes something like 70 days because the rotation of Venus is really slow. So you get these really long days, but it also means you get these really long sunsets. And the orbital rotation isn't the only factor, it's also that the atmosphere is really thick. And if you get like 50 kilometers above the surface, it's somewhere like 70 degrees. So it's hot, but you could actually make heat shielding and make it habitable, or even just move a little bit higher and tolerate lower pressure. Because at the surface, at 50 kilometers, it's 70 degrees, and the pressure of the atmosphere is equal to atmospheric pressure on Earth. But if you go up to where it's like 30 degrees, which is much more habitable, the pressure is something like the top of Mount Rainier. So you would have to adapt physiologically to the lower pressure, but people have, like, certain groups of people in the Himalayas have adapted to living really high up in the mountains year round, and that's way higher than the top of Mount Rainier. So, yeah, the idea was that there would be like this group of people who'd like genetically engineered themselves to be photosynthetic. So they were plant people living in this dome. But the next generation had very different ideas about how to move forward and what they were going to do on the planet. It was there was a lot to it. I feel like it needs refinement though. Like it was a lot of different cool ideas, but the story needed to be about something. And what I wanted to make it about was about like how like really sophisticated biotechnology on Earth would lead to some kind of would lead to a machine that could self-replicate but also relied on fusion power. And so it would be like consuming the hydrogen on Earth, which basically meant that over time it was consuming all of the water on the planet. And so life, as we know it, water based life, was dying out and it was getting replaced with this hydrogen fueled sort of. I guess they were kind of like energy beings. I don't know what I called them. I think I called them water eaters. And then the climax of the story was going to be the plant people protecting the sun from the water eaters because they were going to eat all the hydrogen in the sun and cause a supernova. Yeah, I don't know. The story needs work. I think I just realized, well, I don't think I just realized, but y'all can't really see what I'm doing here. It's sort of just getting increasingly bubbly. Hey, hey, Sasha. Yeah, that's okay. Go have yeah, make sure your phone's plugged in. I think I'm just about done with this stream too. Um, yeah, so I think I'm gonna cut it now. Anyway, have a really good day. Thank you for joining. This was a lot of fun. Okay, bye bye.